All right, everybody. I am sorry about that. We're having some technical difficulties, but we are working those out. I'm going to go ahead and get started in the meantime. So yes, as Gwen said, this is our last session for now. So we're going to think about this as until next time and not farewell.
That's right.
So I'm so excited to be here with you guys, and thank you so much for your attention. I am Dr. Monique May, board-certified family physician and founder of Physician in the Kitchen. And through my home meal delivery service and best-selling Amazon book, Meal Masters, your simple guide to modern-day meal planning, I help busy households enjoy healthy eating without impacting their hectic schedules. So today, in celebration of our final session, and you know, Gwen, I forgot to have everybody, their one assignment was to bring a glass of red wine. I forgot.
Oh!
So hopefully you guys have some type of beverage and are relaxing. And so what I do want to ask is that I have make sure we are present. I'm going to ask you to unplug, disconnect from Facebook or whatever else. Please be sure to put your phones on mute because this is going to go fast. So the first thing I'm going to start with is, well, let me just back up. So the purpose of tonight is I really wanted to just to kind of introduce or show you a new way if you're familiar with some of these items I'm going to be using tonight. Last time, a few weeks ago, we spoke about kind of how to read food labels, what our plate should look like, and you know, the good stuff, the bad stuff, you know, the first few ingredients on the back of the label is what's in there the most, and how to kind of watch for the buzzwords, the hidden words that mean fat and salt and sugar. And so today we're actually going to make a couple of things that should be on your plate, or at least have you think about should be on your plate. And so I'm going to use a couple of my gadgets that I like as well. So for those of you who might just be joining, I'm actually staying with my parents right now. Last week we sold our house. And so while the new house is being built, we all, my son, myself, and my parents are all in one house. So this has been a little bit of an adjustment to get used to a different kitchen, but I think I'll be okay. So the first thing I want to share with you guys is tofu. And I marinated this last night because I wanted it to be nice and ready for today. So people say, ooh, tofu. And I was the same way. I was the exact same way. Because you're like, you know, what even is that? And it looks so bland and it looks so boring.
It's good.
I would argue that is actually a selling point. So if everybody can just put themselves on mute for me. And then when I get done, we'll kind of open it up for questions. So I think the fact that tofu kind of is like a blank slate is what makes it so appealing and so versatile. So tonight we're going to make a jerk tofu. Who here doesn't like jerk chicken? Let me put in the chat if you like jerk chicken. Let me hear you say yes if you like jerk chicken. I gotta have at least one person say yes. Okay, all right. So have you ever had jerk tofu? Who here has ever had jerk tofu? Do I get one yes? No. So, okay, Carrie, good for you. You've had jerk tofu. So hopefully it was a pleasant experience for you. So tonight I'm going to show you guys my version of jerk tofu. And when I tell you how delicious it is, I wish somebody needs to come up with an app where we can like bottle smells, and then you can just tap on the button and smell it on the app, or taste it somehow on the app, because seeing it is one thing, but when you smell what your kitchen smells like and then you taste it, it's like, oh my goodness, you just can't wait to eat this. So I'm gonna pan down, so hopefully you guys see this. So this is basically, there we go. This is extra firm tofu. Tofu comes in various consistencies, and you use them for different things. So there is the extra firm, which is the most like a meatier texture, a sturdier texture. So you would use that if you're grilling it, or you know, a chicken or a beef substitute. So that's why I'm using the extra firm right now. There's a firm, which I'm going to use in a little bit in my stir fry, because that has a softer consistency and it's a good substitute for eggs. And then there's also a silken tofu, which is useful in desserts. You can use it in like puddings, different things like that. So right now we've got the extra firm. And what I did last night was, just so you know, tofu comes packaged in water. Because first of all, what is tofu? Tofu is made from soybeans. So it comes in a package much like this. So this is the firm. So this is not what I'm using right now, but it would just say extra firm. And it's full of water. And so you have to get it nice and, dry it out so that it's not mushy or crumbly. So I started that process last night. And there are various ways to dry it out. There are gadgets you can buy on Amazon. I actually bought one. It didn't work. And so I just do the old school method with a dishcloth and a heavy cast iron skillet on top of it, and let that water be pressed out, and then it will be the consistency that you want. And so then what I also did was I poked holes in it. So much like jerk chicken, when you make it, you want to make it pat it dry, poke some holes in there to let that good rub get down in there. And so I just did that with the tofu. So you do with it exactly what you would do with meat. And so now I'm just going to slice it into some pieces and put it in my air fryer for about 8 to 10 minutes or so. And then you guys can see what it looks like. So this has been marinating probably at least about 12 hours. You don't have to do it that long, but I was just prepping for today, so I just let it do what it wanted to do. And so see how that slices? And if you want to coat it on all sides, of course you can slice this up before and then coat it. But I wanted you guys to see what it looks like as I slice it, so I left it whole. But typically when I make this, I cut it up and then I apply the marinade. And so this marinade, this jerk rather, is made out of, it's allspice, it's a little bit of cinnamon, brown sugar, some I always draw a blank, not curry, but oh my goodness, you put it with ham for Thanksgiving. Gosh, what's it called? I always forget. It starts with a C. I'm drawing a blank on it. Cloves, thank you. And a few other things. So that's what, and then you smell the cloves. It's really like just, and a little bit of ginger. You smell all that as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just baste this a little more. Just kind of get some more of this on this clear part, or uncoated part, I should say, not clear, because I don't want this rub to go to waste. This is some good flavor here. And the cool thing about cooking with tofu, you can, chicken, you got to be careful. You don't want to touch stuff. You got to wash your hands. If I wanted to, I could dip my finger in here right now and taste this, because there's nothing in here that's going to hurt me bacteria-wise. So it's another beauty of cooking with tofu, or plant-based, right? You don't have to worry about bacterial infection. All right. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get this in my air fryer. And I've already kind of let it warm up a little bit. You want to preheat your air fryer. So I had that going before we went live. And so I'm going to just go ahead and pop these in there and let them do what they do. All right, so air fryers come with their own little racks and little trays. I did spray these with a little bit of nonstick spray. And so just put them on, nothing fancy. I mean, this is pretty like easy peasy. And there's a tray in the bottom to catch any, run over. So I'm gonna just go ahead and put the rest of this glaze on here, because like I said, it's so good, I don't want to waste it. And so this is gonna cook for about, we're gonna cook it for about 8 minutes, okay? All right. So while that's cooking, are there any questions? Let me touch base with you guys. Are there any questions so far about what I've done? Let's see. Was there a question? Gwen, was there? I thought I saw something pop up.
What kind of oven is that?
What kind of? Air fryer. Mm-hmm. It is by.
Okay. So Michelle.
Yes, so it's a Power Air Fryer Oven Elite is the brand. Okay, so she has a question about the ingredients.
Yes.
So the ingredients in the jerk are cloves, ground cloves, brown sugar, cinnamon, ginger powder, a little bit of garlic, smoked paprika, and a little bit of cayenne pepper. So you've got a nice mixture of sweet and heat, is what I like to call it. And it is delicious. A little bit of salt and pepper, not too much. With all the other ingredients, you really don't need that, but if you want to kick it up a little bit, you certainly can. Great questions. Anything else?
Monique, are there different consistencies of tofu?
Yes. So that's what I was saying earlier about the different types. So you've got the extra firm, which is what you want to use when you want a meat replacement, because that one's going to have the most consistency, the density that you want. You just want to be sure to dry it out really well. Then there is going to be the firm, and that one is good for where you don't need it to be as dense or as thick. I use it as a great egg replacement. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. And then there's also the silken tofu, which is really much softer, and it's a great replacement that you can use in a dessert, like a pudding base, a mousse, that type of thing.
Gotcha.
And in case you're not familiar, tofu is going to be in your, and you look for it in the grocery store, it's going to be in the refrigerated section, usually with like with cheeses, I think maybe.
Okay.
Usually I get mine at the grocery store I shop at. It's usually in the organic section of the produce aisles with the produce.
Okay.
It's with the produce, with the salads, before the salad.
So Michelle says, what is the taste of tofu? It went away. What is the taste of tofu? Similar to, I like soy sauce, but not sure about this version. So the beauty of tofu is there's really not a taste. It is a blank slate. So that means you can do, if you want to go Caribbean, if you want to go Asian, if you want to go Italian, it is literally a blank slate. So it's waiting for you to create whatever masterpiece in the kitchen you want to create with it. And that's the beauty of it. I think people think, oh, it's so bland, but that's a positive, because you can add what you want. You control the contents, the ingredients, and you get the flavor from it. Someone's asking about calories. Great question. So for this one, this package, and this is the firm that I have right now, this is 80 calories per serving, and a serving is about 3 ounces. So if you think about meat, like we say, your protein should be about 4 ounces, which is about the palm of your hand. We talked about this before, or size of a deck of cards. So for almost about that size for tofu is what you would get about 80 calories. And the nutritional benefits of tofu are really just numerous, because it's a great source of plant protein. People think when people go vegan or vegetarian, the first complaint or first concern is, well, how am I going to get my protein if I'm not eating meat? And tofu is a great source of protein, the plant protein, and it provides 9 essential amino acids. And by essential, we mean the ones that your body needs to make strong bones, strong tissue, strong tissues. And then it also gives you a lot of vitamins and minerals. You get the B vitamins with that. You get copper, you get iron, you get magnesium, all of which play a role in immunity, so helping your body's immune system. And it also plays a role in your blood cell development. So tofu has a lot of beneficial bang for its buck. And it's actually, pretty affordable. That size package is about $2.40, $2.99, depending where you shop. You can get that for about $3 or less. I will say that, turn my time down here. Hold on one moment. Oh, it's looking good. It's looking good. I will say though that, okay, I will say that there, some people say, well, are there health concerns with soy, which is what tofu is? And there's actually been, someone's asking, what is the shelf life of tofu? Very, very good question. It'll say on the package, but it's like any kind of perishable good. You don't want to have it in your refrigerator for months. But I've had this package for a couple of weeks, and it's still good. I think the expiration date was July 4th. So it'll have on there when you should, best used by kind of thing. But with tofu, with soy, particularly women who've had breast cancer, because the concern is, well, is this, eating soy going to increase my risk for my breast cancer to come back. And there's actually been good data, good evidence that shows that soy is actually protective because it's a phytoestrogen, meaning it's the estrogen that you get from a plant versus the estrogen that you get from an animal. And those are the ones that are the higher risk for causing or being linked to breast cancer. So the plant estrogen actually has been shown to have a protective effect in your body versus the animal. So of course, like anything else we've discussed during the series, you have to consult with your doctor and make sure that these recommendations are best for you. But generally speaking, soy has actually been shown to be more beneficial, plant-based. It's more beneficial. Women in Asia, for example, tend to have lower risk of breast cancer. And there's one thought of that is because it's due to their soy intake. In addition to them eating other things like mushrooms and green tea, which are also protective. So hopefully that puts your mind at rest a little bit there. So, all right, let's see how this is looking. So I'm going to show you, it's about been here now about at least 4 minutes. And I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. And it smells so good. So I'm gonna turn it over, but see how it's cooking, and it's, again, it just looks almost like your meat with brown. So, and in fact, what I'm gonna do is switch my racks because the one on the top is getting done a little faster than the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap them out. All right, so let's give that a few more minutes. So the other thing I wanted to show you guys tonight is a new take on stir fry. Because what's the first thing when you think about stir fry? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Let me hear what you guys have. When you hear stir fry, what do you think? MSG, good one. That's a very good one. What else? Any other thoughts? Lots of salt. Yep, that goes with the MSG, Asian food. Yep. I tend to think of rice, right? Because what's the basis for stir fry? Typically, I mean, you can use noodles, but I think of rice. And so what I want to do is show you guys how to make a cauliflower, broccoli, rice stir fry. So, you know, we talked about carbs, right? We talked about carbs. We talked about, yes, Gwen, it is yummy. We talked about how you want to avoid the processed. It's good and inexpensive. Exactly, Michelle. It's a great way to use vegetables. We talked about how you want to, avoid the white potatoes, the white rice, the white bread, because those are all processed, not the potatoes, but the breads, the rice, versus in favor of using brown rice or brown sweet potatoes or whole wheat bread. Well, if we can swap out and use a vegetable for our rice instead of a carb, even better. So this is how we roll. So my food processor decided not to work for me, because my favorite way or easiest way to do this is to just put this in the food processor, pulse it a couple of times, and until it's like the consistency of rice. The food processor does all the work. It's so easy, but my food processor is acting special, so we're going to use good old chef's knife. So you always got to be ready to improvise, right? You always got to have a plan B, because things happen. So just like life, right? COVID happened, right? I don't know about you, but I was planning on going on vacation in the summer. So you have to roll with it. So there's a question about, if you cannot acquire a taste for the cauliflower rice, what's the next best thing to use? Well, I mean, I would use you can try other vegetables. You can experiment with others till you find one that you like. Or you can use, the brown rice. There's also, I'm a big fan of, not couscous, but why am I forgetting everything today?
Quinoa.
Quinoa, thank you. Quinoa, which is actually not a carb, it's a grain. So that's another replacement that you can certainly use. But the reason you probably don't like the cauliflower is, again, the taste. And how do you fix that? You season it. Because cauliflower, much like tofu, has kind of this bland taste. But if you bump it up with if you're doing a stir fry, I would recommend ginger and garlic and some other spices like onion powder, then you don't think that you're eating cauliflower because you're tasting what you would expect to get in Chinese rice or Asian, Asian stir fry. So I'm gonna just chop up these florets. So let me show you guys what I'm working with here. So those are my lovely florets. So I've got cauliflower, I've got some broccoli, and for the stir fry, I'm actually going to use this little pepper. It's a little past its prime, but it's perfect for a stir fry, which is another beautiful thing about stir fry. You can use vegetables that are, not quite ideal, but you can throw them in the stir fry and they don't go to waste. And then I also like bean sprouts. To me, it's not stir fry if it doesn't have bean sprouts. So you get those in the grocery store. I bought this package, but you can get them loosely. Harris Teeter has them just loose, and you can just buy a handful, and that's pretty much all. So before we get started with that, though, let me check the tofu. Oh my goodness, this is looking delicious. And you just cook it kind of to the consistency that you want it to be. This is still a little soft, so I'm going to put it in here for another maybe 5 minutes or so. Let me check the top one because that one might be a little, nope, still not good. So I check it in like 5 minute increments, 5 to 7 minute increments. I cut this kind of thick, so it's going to take a little longer, but you can do it. If you do it in like strips, it'll cook much faster. Yeah. Hold on one second. My producer / mother has returned with the food processor, so stand by. This is a family affair, y'all. Hold on. All right, guys, I'm back with the food processor. Yay! Thanks, mommy. All right, so this is, so forget the chef's knife, but in a pinch, you could do this with the chef's knife as well. So I'm going to put my florets in there. And I'm just gonna make a small batch just for, demonstration purposes. But the cool thing about this is you can scale it to however much you need. And so what you do is, make sure you guys can see. So I'm just gonna pulse because I don't want it to be too small. So if you don't want it to run, you just want it to pulse and control. So it looks like rice. So can you all see that? So this is the basis for my stir fry. This is my rice. And so you make it how you want it to be, but that's about the size that I like it. So what I'm gonna do now is go ahead and thank God for food processors. Yes, ma'am, what would we do without them? So I'm gonna move this so you guys can see my wok. So I have a wok. I've had this wok for a good 20 years. I love this thing. It is so versatile, and just to me, I don't feel like I'm making a stir fry. So. Okay. All right. So what I've got in here right now is a little bit of garlic stir fry oil. So it's basically a sesame oil with a little garlic in there that just adds a nice layer of flavor. And so I'm gonna let that heat up, and I'm gonna toss my vegetables in here first, because those, the stir fry goes really quickly. So you want to make sure you've got everything you need ready to go, because once it starts, it's will bring up. So while that's heating up, what questions do you have? Oh, you know what? While you're looking at that, let me come back to this in just a second. I want to show you guys the tofu, the other tofu, because we're going to add some scrambled eggs to our stir fry. Here is the silken tofu. So I'm going to open it over a bowl because it's a ton of water in here. I've already poured some of it out. But here is the the firm tofu. I'm going to use about half of this. And it's okay if this still has a little water in it, because I'm going to cook this out. So that's what the firm tofu looks like. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of crumble this up in my pan and start cooking this. So that looks probably not that appealing, right? You're like, what is she doing? Well, when I'm done, you may hopefully go change your mind. What I'm going to add to it is some turmeric. So turmeric is a spice. It has some anti-inflammatory properties, antibacterial. It's really a good staple to have in your pantry, and it's what makes mustard yellow. So guess what it's going to do to my tofu? Make it look like scrambled eggs. So I'm just gonna stir this with this a little bit and check. So this is good for if you want breakfast. If you're looking for a substitute for scrambled eggs in breakfast, you can make a nice egg scramble with this. Wherever you want to use scrambled eggs, look at that. You guys see that turning yellow? And I'm going to season it with a little bit of some Oriental fried spice, which is basically, it's got cinnamon, anise, ginger, nutmeg, and cloves. So it's going to go nicely with my jerk chicken, which you mean jerk tofu. And a little bit of garlic.
Monique, that looks just like scrambled eggs. Oh my
Does
goodness.
it not? Isn't that amazing? It really does. And when I layer this in with my other flavors, y'all, I wish I could smell how good this smells. Oh my goodness. But yeah. So if you are looking to be vegan and you want some scrambled eggs, here you go. You don't have to give it up. All right, let me now turn my. How are we doing on time, Gwen?
We're doing great on time. We have a question. Do you also use this in omelets too?
Well, it's hard to do it with omelets because, as you saw, it's a chunk, and so with omelets you have to be able to layer it. So I don't know how to use it in an omelet. No, it's where you want the egg to be scrambled.
Okay. We have another chat question. How long do you cook your scrambled tofu?
Not very long. I mean, it's almost done. Because remember, I'm also going to put it in my wok, so it's going to cook a little more. So let me go ahead and start my peppers going in my wok. You guys are asking some great questions. I love it.
We have another question, Monique. Would adding milk to it make it more, I believe make it a greater consistency?
Adding milk? I've not done that. I don't know. All right, so I've got my peppers going. Trying to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. So eggs are done. And let me check the consistency of my, no, it's getting there. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and turn these over a little, let the other side kind of cook. Probably another 5 minutes or so. Oh, look at that, y'all. Doesn't that look like jerk chicken? Like the color of jerk chicken? Because it's the jerk. It's the seasoning. All right, so I'm gonna let that get to go in. I'm gonna put in my sprouts. And I'm gonna save the cauliflower broccoli rice for last. So to me, you're not really doing Asian cooking if you don't have fresh ginger. So this is some ginger that I've already peeled. And then I'm just gonna grate this in here. Ginger and garlic are like two of my favorite flavor profiles or flavor combos. And I cheat. I use already minced garlic, but definitely, can use fresh. And this doesn't take long to cook at all. You don't want to overcook your vegetables. You want them to be a little crisp. So we're not gonna.
And Monique, we have another question. What was the seasoning that you used on the tofu? Was it ginger or something else?
I used turmeric to get it that nice yellow color. And then I used a little bit of oriental spice and a little bit of garlic as well. This is almost done, guys. Like, stir fry is almost done. I'm gonna let those peppers cook down a little bit more. For my jerk tofu, I made a glaze with basically it's a agave ginger, honey ginger balsamic agave glaze that is cheese.com. And you just drizzle that over the stick of the tofu, and it is super, super good. So I'll be sure that you guys get these recipes if you're interested. I'll be sure to get them again for you.
And Monique, someone asked, what does turmeric taste like?
Turmeric is pretty subtle, actually, because I added to my tea. I added to green tea, but to me, it's got a really subtle taste. That's a good question. I use it really more for the color than the taste. That's why I added some garlic, because it doesn't really have to me, it doesn't have a strong. So here is my. This smells so good, y'all. I wish, like I said, I wish you could smell and taste it. And then you can also just add a little bit of, soy sauce to give it that dark color if you want it to really look like Chinese rice. I'm gonna cook this for a little bit more, and then it's done. And this is the first time I've actually ate broccoli rice. I usually do some cauliflower, but I like the green in there. I like that extra color because that green is more nutrients, more vitamins, more antioxidants.
And Monique, are you able to adjust the camera a little bit so we can see that goodness in the pan?
Sure. Yes. Thank you for letting me know. How's that?
Nice. That's perfect.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know. And I actually have a little bit of, I use the light soy sauce, a little less sodium. I don't make this every day, so I have to be careful with my salt intake, but that gives it that, again, that look, right? That look, that Chinese rice. And if you wanted to eat this whole thing, sometimes you feel guilty, right? You're like, oh, I can't believe I ate the whole thing. So what? This is all vegetables. Eat it. It is okay.
That looks so good, Monique.
Thank you. Thank you. And the thing I love about a stir fry on a busy weeknight, I mean, boom. Once that, definitely have all your stuff prepped and ready to go. Because once you start, it's gonna fly. Turn off my. Give me just 1 second. I'm gonna adjust my camera. Just a moment. Okay, guys, I'm gonna give my tofu a little bit more time. But in the meantime, I'm gonna start tasting this. So have I sold you guys? Have I convinced you? At least tempted you to at least give it a try? Where are we? What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? So let me taste it. I guess you'll have to take my word for it, babe. What are you? So that is good. I taste the soy from the soy sauce. It's got a nice texture to it. It's not mushy. It's not gummy. It feels like I'm eating rice, and it's not. So this is really good. And you can top this, treat it like you treat Chinese rice. So.
And Monique, can you top it with soy sauce or something?
So I just put some soy sauce in here while I was cooking it.
Yeah.
And then you can add some more. Again, you want to watch your salt content.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I put soy sauce in there to give it that little, kind of make it a little darker.
Yeah.
Regina said she would try this. Awesome. And Gwen will have my email address. So when you do try it, Regina, please let me know. Or actually, if you follow me on Facebook at Dr. Monique May, drop me a line in there. I have a group called Dr. Monique May's Meal Masters. And if you go there, you just have to answer a couple of questions so I can get you on my email list. And then please be sure to post a picture and let me know how it turned out for you. I'd love to do that. And Gwen, can you tap that in the chat for me?
Sure. So
Facebook, it's Dr. Monique May's Meal Masters. Because that's what we're doing. We're mastering these meals, right? Let me taste this pepper. So the pepper is nice and sweet. It's still sweet. It's got a nice crunch to it. And this pepper was a little past its prime. It was kind of wrinkly in the refrigerator. It was looking unloved and lonely. I was like, come on, go with me. Let's go get the stir fry. So that way you don't waste food, right? You don't waste food at all because it still tastes just as good as the day it was bought. So this is good, ladies. This is really good. And I didn't add any salt. You can certainly add some salt. You probably could use a little salt. But again, if you're going to be using the soy sauce, you're going to be careful with that. So. All right, so any questions?